Okay, welcome back to the afternoon session. And today we're going to quickly go over how to check the bias in AI by comparing the answers in 3 different LLMs, large language models.
Absolutely.
Is that the correct term?
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what they are. Yeah.
And to save time, I've made up some prompts so that we can cut and paste them and then make sure that they're going to be the same for each of the engines.
Yes. And for the interest of time, we can just share with everyone that we did originally start this particular example using Notebook LM.
Yes.
But we didn't really prefer the results as much because we needed to get out of that walled garden to get better feedback. So it's just another example of many tools, many different AI assistants to aid us to get to the right answer. It's not always just one way to do it.
Good. Okay, so let's start by creating a rubric for an essay for the new 2023 Grade 9 English curriculum from the Ministry of Education in Ontario.
Okay, so since we're going to use a couple of LMs, we're just going to use the prompt archive that we created here.
Good.
And I'm just going to drop this in. So this is our Gemini for Windsor-Essex Catholic District School Board. And it is a little different than Personal Gemini.
Okay.
Because this one is approved by the board and the ministry that the information here is not used for language learning.
Okay.
So we're not saying you can't go use other ones.
Right.
We think you should. But when you're doing anything specific, like you wouldn't use AI for any student information anyway.
Exactly.
But if you're worried about anything secure, you always use Gemini.
Okay.
But if it's just stuff like this where we're just using curriculum that's public and ideas.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So what that means is that it's not using our information to train this language model.
We can guarantee you when you use this. When you use other ones, we don't know.
Okay.
That's much better.
That's probably important.
All right, so I'm going to hit enter and let it go.
Okay, that's pretty generic. So that looks like what would just come right out of the curriculum. Document. Yeah, and that's not useful for students, and it's not nearly specific enough.
Okay, so we're going to, as we will talk about in prompt engineering, the first one's not always the way to get there. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to be more specific because this was too general, so the prompt needs more.
Good.
Okay, so the addition in the second prompt here was we wanted a literary analysis essay.
Good.
So I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to put it into our Gemini.
Okay, well that's actually getting better now because it's got a bit more specificity in the levels like theme and characterization. It has already organized this into the achievement card. So let's, and it's already in a chart. So let's go down to prompt number 5. Give me more.
Okay. But this is a good example of how you have to build your prompts, and you don't have to keep redoing the same prompt as I did in example 2. You can just ask it to, because it's a working document in a conversation.
Right.
All right, so we're going to go right to 5.
Yes.
Because we found that there wasn't enough in the application category.
Yes, and that we realigned the weighting of the categories, and I know that a lot of English teachers have talked about how they feel that it's hard to see what's aligned in the application category. So let's take a look.
Be very specific.
Yeah.
Okay, so I put in, give me more information in the application category. Okay, and it validated that we are correct. We could use more. It's always very positive.
Okay, and now is that in a chart form? Can we have it?
It didn't. Okay, so now I'm going to ask. Okay, so it did it again, but it took it out of the chart. Place this information into a chart. And it always helps to be
polite.
And I'm not joking.
It really does.
We were in numerous conferences about this, and it does change the way you get answers, which is a little scary.
It's kind of funny, yeah. So all of you who thank the self-checkout, at the end, we've actually been training for this all along.
Okay, so it's working through that. Okay, so it looks like it has
generated code. I don't want code.
It feels a little bit like a hallucination.
Yes.
So this is a good example because sometimes you're just not going to get what you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the second prompt here, and I'm going to say put it in chart form.
Okay.
And I'm just going to build it. This might be, I'm not feeling it with Gemini.
I'm not loving the way this is going with Gemini.
Let's go to ChatGPT. Okay, so let's just do the same thing again. Only this time, let's use ChatGPT. So I just skipped over to ChatGPT.
All right, let's go straight for the literary analysis one, I think.
All right, so let's just see what we get. So this was part of the idea to show that you got to use the right AI to fix it. They're not all the same. And of course, it has a memory, which is great for it to tell us that. Now, ChatGPT likes to show you how it creates it and as it goes. So it's actually a little slower doing this, but it is processing it.
Okay, it looks like our next prompt is going to be relevant when we ask it to organize it in the achievement chart categories. Because it's giving us a rubric that would be more US in flavor.
So we're going to go to this one, number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Took a while, but I got it. All right. Now I'm going to go into my chat and ask it to use the achievement chart categories. Different again.
Yes, because it has that criteria section. But that's not necessarily bad because we can combine the category and the criteria as we often do in our rubrics.
So I asked it to put it more information in the application. Oh, it did just the application.
Just application.
Okay. So it definitely built it out.
Actually, this is great because these are some of the things that would be part of that expansive look at application. Because it used to just be grammar and MLA format. But I think application is much wider than that.
And we need this to reflect the weight of
25% now, yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So now next we could, put the prompts all together.
Okay. But why don't we make it specific to one of the books that we are doing in grade 9?
Okay. Now that's amazing because it's going to be like dialed right into the text that I'm using, which in different courses, different texts, and even within the same course.
Well, and if you're doing, you could do this quickly for each of the books that you were doing in a literature circle or a book club.
Okay, so I'm going to put that in there. So make this specific to All American Boys by Jason Reynolds. So this is showing an example of using more than one AI language model. It's also showing some prompt engineering of kind of how you build up to what you want. And I always say ask for the world at the beginning. Be really dialed in specific and then pull back. But you can also build up a little bit so you can see what you're getting. And then, because sometimes too much information, you just don't know where to start trimming.
Examining complex themes like systemic racism, justice, and allyship in depth. I like these ideas. So what I would probably do is put in a new prompt to get it together, put that in a chart and move it into like Google Docs, and then start to look at it and see if these were things that I was looking for in a literary analysis essay. Could you ask it to put it in student-friendly language? Oh, this is not planned, but it just occurred to me.
Use student-friendly language. And we'll leave it wide open, but we could actually say for grade level, we could be very specific.
So let's just see if that changes, because that's something else. Oh, that's great. I like that it's personalized. You show a deep understanding of. So I like adding that prompt. And then I would probably cut and paste, ask it to combine them, cut and paste all of it, and then go back and look through it and make sure that it was reflecting what I was looking for. And also have discussions with students with that rubric basis to make sure that they understood what each of those criteria were.
Now for fun, we did it in Gemini, and we were getting what we wanted, but we were working harder. We put it in a chat, and it was much better. You want to just try a different one?
Yeah, let's try.
This one is probably not as popular because people have different thoughts on Meta and Llama. Chat and Gemini, we can easily authenticate using a Google account, whether it's the board one or you just use your own personal. This one, you'd have to use a Facebook account. But Llama, if you're interested to do that, you don't have to. Llama is amazing. Again, they give you a lot more for free. I guess that's why I like that. And it's a little more current. And just while we're on the topic, the free versions of things, so the free Gemini, which is what we're all going to get, the free chat, they're not all the same. So the professional, obviously, when you pay, you're going to get a little more, and it's usually a faster or even more current information. So you just need to be aware of that. And some of these not as popular AI models will give you a little more to draw you in. Another good one is Copilot with Microsoft,
and
which
Robin has demonstrated that in the morning session.
We like that one. Yeah. So I put in just the same prompt that we've been using.
Okay,
just to see what we get with Llama.
Okay, it's interesting because here
it's right into like points.
Yeah, so again, we're getting a rubric that's more like a US style of rubric, so we will have to ask it to organize by achievement chart categories.
Okay. So
and put it in a chart. We might as well combine those two.
Put these two prompts together.
Now that we've engineered them, we could almost put them all together in one prompt.
You put it into achievement chart and place in a chart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what we get. Okay, that looks more like an Ontario rubric. It's got specific criteria. That's interesting. I wouldn't necessarily use that.
So again, we've looked at 3 models, and in this example, the winner is ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And we've only spent, this whole podcast has been about 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's still saving us a lot of time, but we're getting dialed in exactly what we want. So probably next time I'll start with ChatGPT.
Yeah, and then put all of those prompts together. Okay. Exactly. Well, I think this is a really interesting exercise because you can go through and start to see which one meets your needs for which. Which outcome you're looking for.
You're going to learn, what works better for you.
Yeah.
Claude's another one, really good for coding, but now we're finding the free version is a little picky about how often you can use it. Yeah. So this is going to be a fluid situation, and we'll share with each other about, hey, you got to use the Llama for this. Or, good for image generation, I know that. But ChatGPT is going to dial in for this. So.
And it's interesting because I expected, because ChatGPT was older, that maybe Gemini would be better. And actually, I had full confidence in Notebook LM, and it just didn't produce what we wanted. ChatGPT gave us what I think is the most useful for teachers to build a rubric.
How we're approaching it, too. Someone may get success with it with different prompts. So anyway, that's what we wanted to show, so I think we did it.
Good. We invite you to try this out if you like this afternoon, or to look at the many other options we have and the many other AI that we have listed. They change all the time, right? So like what's current today might not be current 10 days from now.
We've noticed that already.
Yeah, that happened when we did it today. So I hope you enjoyed playing around with this afternoon. And we're going to ask you to share out some things to a Padlet, and then we can all take a look at that by subject, and hopefully we can learn from each other and what we found successful and what we used. For example, right now, ChatGPT seems to give me the best rubrics.
Absolutely. All right. We hope you enjoy that.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.